I've got some advice for those who need a studio in a small space. Hey, this is Scott Weidenkivowitz, a storyteller with a camera talking about all the things photographers like you and I are thinking about. If you like this video, if you're digging it, please click the subscribe button below now so you can get the next video. I publish new content every Monday and Thursday whenever possible, so don't miss it. If you're like me, then you've got a studio or trying to set up a studio in a very small space. Now, my office is actually quite large, but the problem I face are low ceilings. So what I'm about to tell you works for either just small spaces or low ceilings. You can see behind me, I've got a backdrop. And in some videos, you see that I am zoomed in sort of like this. And you don't see anything behind me. All you see is me and black backdrop. You don't see the rest of it. You don't see the ceiling. You don't see the floor. You don't see my, anything below here. You don't see anything but just really my upper body, my, shoulders to top of my head and the black backdrop. And you don't see the stands or anything, right? That is fairly normal for my setup. However, if I zoom back out, you got everything here, right? You can see everything going on. You can see that I've got a bag over there hanging from the light stand, or the background stand really, and I've got a little shelf over there that I can actually clamp onto a different places. So right now it's actually clamped to the background stand. But here's what I want to tell you. The reason why I'm leaving this zoomed out for this video and sort of pointing everything out back there is those aren't background stands. Those are C stands. The reason why I went with C stands down here in my office is what I wanted to do was actually mount from the walls. I wanted to actually mount rod and to be able to hang a backdrop or move lights in and out and keep everything off the floor. But the problem is these walls are soundproofing walls that are just in front of cement. I am in a basement, so the walls are really just cement on the outside, and there's very few beams the way that this was built, the way this basement was built. So I don't have much to work with as far as what I can do with the walls. And so in order for me to get the backdrop as high as possible and as far back as possible to the wall, I actually had to go with C stands instead of regular background stands or regular light stands because of the way the legs fit or sit really. C stands that are kind of in this spider web or spider feet style feet. It allows me to sort of position the poles so they're almost flush to the wall. They're pretty far back. And if I was to use a light stand, I would be a good maybe half a foot away from the wall instead of just like 3 inches or so. So it gives me a lot more space to work with. I can get everything back as far as possible. And it also allows me to get it as high as possible. And these are actually much, much stronger. Now, there are tons of C stands on the market. I don't recommend, for something like this, don't go for one of the expensive ones. In fact, the one I have is great for my Alien Bee lights. They're great for studio lights with giant softboxes on them. They're great for, obviously, this is one of those Hurley boards. He doesn't make them anymore that I'm aware of. But that's a really heavy background, and it works perfect for that as well. So C stands, I use one from LumaPro. It was at $99. I have 3 of them, one of which also has a boom, which the light right here is mounted to. Oh, and by the way, the light that I'm testing right now is for a review, so stay tuned for a review on that light. I got everything back against the wall as high as possible, which allows me to have a little bit more flexibility with what I can do as far as videos and headshots and everything in here. If I was to switch it from the Hurley Pro board to a fabric background, I can then go even lower because obviously this doesn't go so low. So if I was to step back, now I could zoom in and get even more, but the problem is you're getting all of this without the backdrop. If I was to use a fabric, that wouldn't be an issue. It means I could step back further and worry about all of that and whatnot. But anyway, so small spaces. C-stands are definitely better than light stands. It lets you move them out of the way. Booms are a lot stronger on C-stands than they are on light stands, so you could move, if you want to use the lights, you can move them back further and use a boom and get your light in place. And of course, I also have my my drop ceiling, basically my drop ceiling light mounts that I'm using for my Savage lights, which are actually off to the side. Right now I have them a little bit warmer because I'm testing a mix of cool 5500 Kelvin from the light I'm testing here and about 4400 for the lights on the sides. Just playing around right now while I test this new light out. And so I've got them off on the ceiling. I do have cables coming down. They are battery operated, but the batteries don't last so long, so I do have them plugged in right now. But the cool thing is, everything is sort of off to the side, out of the way, and I don't have to trip over wires and everything as I'm coming into the set and leaving the set and walking around my studio and doing headshots or whatever it is going on. Everything's out of the way. So C-stands are fantastic. They are fantastic for small spaces and low ceilings.